You know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Paris?
They don't call it a quarter pounder with cheese?
Oh man, they got the metric system. They wouldn't know what the fuck a quarter pounder is.
And what do they call it?
They call it Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese.
That's right.
Greetings, friends! Welcome to Scene Atlas on YouTube, your film and series atlas. Some films transcend time, passed down from generation to generation, still sparking the same excitement as day one. Pulp Fiction is exactly that kind of movie. Since 1994, it's redefined what cinema can be, inspired countless directors, and split audiences down the middle. You either love it, or you say, I didn't get this movie at all. But don't worry, today we'll shed light on the secrets hiding in plain sight. What was really inside that legendary briefcase? How was the iconic dance scene captured with such charm? And where did Jules's famous Bible passage truly come from? In short, I've prepared a video bursting with mind-blowing, jaw-dropping revelations, guaranteed to make your film-loving brain kernels explode. But before we dive in, just one small request. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next cinematic deep dive. Now, let's start the camera and descend into the mysterious world of Pulp Fiction. What makes Pulp Fiction so special in film history is undoubtedly its unusual, non-linear narrative structure. Instead of unfolding in a straightforward timeline, Tarantino slices the story into fragments and hands it to us like a puzzle. One moment we see Vincent alive, the next we're shocked by his sudden death, and then almost casually he's back on screen again. For a first-time viewer, it can feel disorienting. You might even find yourself asking, wait, what's going on here? But rest assured, this is no accident. It's a bold, artistic choice. By breaking chronology, Tarantino forces us to stop being passive spectators. Instead, we become detectives, piecing together fates, stitching timelines, connecting dots until the bigger picture reveals itself. And when it does, the experience isn't just storytelling, it's transformation. So, how did this legendary script even come to be? Well, the film industry was not impressed at first. The studio TriStar flat out rejected it, branding it too depraved and even the worst thing ever written. One executive scoffed, "What's going on here? Someone dies and then they're alive again?" What they didn't realize was that the first draft wasn't just bold, it was massive. Nearly 500 pages long, amounting to an 8.5-hour saga. Tarantino and his friend Roger Avary, both video store clerks at the time, had poured their wildest ideas into what they themselves called a lunatic's diary. If filmed as written, it would have been less a movie and more a mini-series. Luckily, Miramax saw past the chaos. They believed in the vision, backed the script, and opened the door for the masterpiece we celebrate today. And the rest, as they say, is cinematic history. Tarantino's genius didn't appear out of thin air. Pulp Fiction is actually divided into 3 distinct stories, an idea inspired by the 1963 Italian horror anthology Black Sabbath. Each tale stands on its own, but together they weave into something greater. But perhaps even more fascinating is Jules's unforgettable Path of the Righteous Man speech. Most assume it comes directly from the Bible, yet in truth, it's not scripture at all. The passage was lifted and reimagined from a 1976 Japanese martial arts film called The Bodyguard. Tarantino reshaped the ending, molding it to Jules's identity and the film's broader themes of morality, consequence, and redemption. With choices like these, Pulp Fiction transcends being just a crime drama. It becomes a living homage to cinema itself, an intersection of film history and pop culture stitched together with Tarantino's unmistakable style. Now, let's dive into the legendary cast that brought Pulp Fiction to life. Every character feels like they were born for their role, but in truth, fate and a few accidents played a huge part. Take Jules, for example. Samuel L. Jackson's iconic look with that unforgettable wig? Total accident. The costume team was supposed to bring him a giant afro. Instead, someone grabbed a jerry curl by mistake. Jackson tried it on, Tarantino took one look and said, "That's it." And just like that, an accident turned into cinematic history. Then there's Butch Coolidge, the boxer. Many assume Bruce Willis was always the choice. Not so. The role was first aimed at Matt Dillon. He liked the script, but asked for one night to think about it. Well, Tarantino doesn't do waiting games. He yanked the offer and handed it straight to Bruce Willis. And here's the kicker. Vincent and Jules themselves weren't even written for Travolta and Jackson. Tarantino had considered British actors like Tim Roth and Gary Oldman, but destiny stepped in. Travolta and Jackson took the roles, and their careers were reborn in the process. In a way, Pulp Fiction didn't just toy with narrative fate, it toyed with the fates of its very actors. Now, let's peek behind the curtain at one of the most legendary scenes in Pulp Fiction, the unforgettable dance at Jack Rabbit Slim's. Vincent Vega and Mia Wallace gliding across the floor became a pop culture icon, but the truth? Much of it was improvised. According to John Travolta himself, the moves were his suggestion. He pitched to Tarantino, "Why don't we do the twist?" Tarantino loved it. A few takes later, the scene was immortalized. Uma Thurman, though, wasn't so eager at first. She felt nervous about dancing with Travolta, even hesitant to step onto the floor. But once the music rolled, magic happened. And here's a twist most people miss. Vincent and Mia didn't actually win that dance contest. In a later scene, on the radio inside Butch's motel room, it's announced the Jack Rabbit Slim's trophy was stolen. That's right, our beloved duo never took home the prize. The trophy was snatched away, off-screen, in true Tarantino fashion. Of course, not all of Pulp Fiction's iconic moments were playful. One of the tensest and most disturbing scenes is Mia's overdose, when Vincent plunges a needle of adrenaline into her chest. But here's the secret. It wasn't filmed the way you think. Instead of pushing the needle in, John Travolta actually pulled it out of Uma Thurman's chest. The footage was then reversed in editing, creating the shocking illusion of penetration. A simple film trick, but executed with masterful precision. And that unsettling drool slipping from Mia's mouth? It wasn't real. It was cold Campbell's mushroom soup. Little touches like these prove how carefully Tarantino orchestrated every detail, turning even the grotesque into unforgettable cinema. Here's a detail you might not have noticed: the strange curse that follows Vincent Vega every time he goes to the toilet. Fans call it the toilet curse of Vincent, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. His first bathroom break, Mia overdoses. His second, he walks right into the middle of the restaurant robbery. And his final trip, well, that one ends with Butch pulling the trigger. 3 moments, 3 disasters. Each time, Vincent steps away for something as mundane as a bathroom break, and fate punishes him in ways beyond his control. It's Tarantino at his most mischievous, blending dark comedy with cruel inevitability. The toilet curse becomes both a running gag and a clever foreshadowing device, mocking Vincent's fate while reminding us that in Pulp Fiction, destiny always has the last laugh. Another element that makes Pulp Fiction truly unforgettable is, without question, its music. The film isn't just a crime story, it's a full-blown musical feast, weaving together rock and roll, pop, and surf tunes into the very fabric of its storytelling. For Tarantino, music is never just background noise. It isn't filler, it's an engine, pushing the story forward, shaping mood, and mirroring the inner state of the characters themselves. The film even opens with Dick Dale's explosive surf anthem, Miserlou. In that very first note, the audience is told, you're watching an epic. The energy skyrockets, the pulse quickens, and the expectation is set. From that moment on, every track keeps us locked in, riding the film's rhythm until the final frame. And now we arrive at the most talked about mystery in Pulp Fiction. What was inside Marsellus Wallace's briefcase? Since 1994, this single question has kept film lovers debating, theorizing, and obsessing. But here's the truth: Tarantino never intended to answer it. The briefcase is what's known as a MacGuffin, an object that propels the story forward while its contents remain irrelevant. Think of the ring in The Lord of the Rings or the necklace in Titanic. The briefcase isn't about what it holds, it's about the characters chasing it. Still, the theories are legendary. Some believe it holds Marcellus's very soul, pointing to the glowing light, the 666 lock code, and the bandage on his neck. Others argue it contains diamonds from Reservoir Dogs, but co-writer Roger Avary admitted that idea was scrapped for being boring and predictable. The real inspiration? An homage to the 1955 noir classic Kiss Me Deadly, where a mysterious box glowed ominously. To achieve the effect, Tarantino simply placed a battery and a light bulb inside the case. By leaving it unsolved, Tarantino turned the audience into co-creators. The briefcase becomes your mystery to complete, an open door for imagination. And that is why, decades later, the glow of that case still shines, fueling conversations, theories, and the cult status of Pulp Fiction.
So there you have it, some of the hidden gems and behind-the-scenes mysteries of Pulp Fiction. More than just a crime film, it's a cinematic masterpiece that shattered conventions and redefined storytelling. With razor-sharp dialogue, unforgettable characters, and a daring nonlinear structure, Tarantino carved this film's name in gold across the pages of film history. It is not just a movie, it's a cultural phenomenon. Released in 1994 on a modest $8.5 million budget, it grossed nearly $213 million worldwide, proving once and for all that independent films could capture mainstream audiences. That success ignited the indie film movement of the 90s, inspiring a generation of filmmakers. Critics hail it as a postmodern classic, blending crime, dark comedy, drama, even Western touches into one seamless whole. And through that bold mix, Pulp Fiction didn't just change how we watch movies, it changed how movies are made, how stories are told, and how art can echo through culture. So, what do you think? Is Pulp Fiction one of the greatest films of all time? Drop your thoughts in the comments, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more cinematic deep dives. Until next time, take care and keep watching great films.